Nice. Slider. I gave a little gap for silence there, which I've been forgetting, which helps me later. But welcome to Sunny Days podcast, my man.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being here. I know you're
nervous.
nervous.
Thank you.
I love it. Like, tell everybody I'm nervous. But yeah, you know, it's I remember my first time doing it, and it was a little nerve-wracking for sure. You know, you're like, oh, I got to know what to say all the time, and that's just not the case. And
it was like a first date.
Yeah, fix your cord. So you see it. That's awesome.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
Okay. So tell people who you are and you know, like your name and whatnot, but also tell them, you know, how we know each other and whatnot.
Yeah. So my name is Casey Keener. I live about 30 minutes away from Colton, which is crazy to me because as far apart as we've ended up. I've known Colton. I've known you since we were.
I was trying to nail that down. I think it's like 5 to 6.
Well,
am I wrong?
Well, yeah.
What is it? I meant to ask my mom.
Well, I asked mine, and I said, "Mom, what year did we live in English Village? Because that's the neighborhood that we lived in. 91.
Oh wow! So So we knew each other, I think, before.
Yeah, I mean, we lived together before we ever really knew each other. I mean,
crazy.
We lived next to each other before we.
I didn't realize we knew each other that long.
I didn't either. That's surprising. I just knew that I couldn't remember meeting you because it was so young.
Right.
I mean, what's the difference between 2 years old and 5 years? I mean, I'm not going to remember that far back anyway.
I tell. Actually, I was talking to Reese today. I was like, Casey's coming over. We're going to do a little podcast, and he's like, "Oh yeah." And he's like, "Well, what are you going to talk about?" And I said, "Oh, you know, just random stuff, but you know, we're going to touch on how long we've known each other." And I was telling him about it. And he's like, "I didn't realize y'all had known each other that long." So I thought that was, you know, and I think when people say, "I've known someone my whole life," you know, I hear it all the time. "I've known my whole life," and that's probably true for some people. But I can legitimately say, you know, we've known each other, and not just known each other. It's not like you're an acquaintance. You know, we've more than that. Like it's, we're going to get into it, but we're like, you said a good statement the other day when we were talking about this, that I don't have a memory. And I actually tried before you got here to have a memory before I knew you. And I don't have one. Like I don't have a memory where I didn't go, who's Casey, you know, or what, something like that.
We were just there.
Yep.
And I don't remember meeting my mom or my dad. They were just there.
You know, and it's like odd, probably, when we explain, it's a very odd, you know, tangled web, you know, for just how did that even happen? But I want to do my favorite part of the show, which I don't know if your questions are going to come up to par. I've had some good ones lately, but would you rather? How'd you like that?
I wasn't expecting that.
I did that to Elijah the other day. He's never heard it, and he was like, it kind of startled him.
It did.
This is gonna. I like to do this with everybody. It's a good way to kind of break the ice. And did you prepare some would you rather questions for me?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. Would you rather be sticky all over your body every day for the rest of your life, or itchy all over your body for the rest of your life?
Those are like, those are two of my like least favorite things in the world, to be honest with you. Like,
yeah, that's why I asked it.
Courtney actually got sunburnt, and the past couple of days have been like, lubing her up. But yeah, but I have been having to do like lotion and what is that? Aloe vera. Every time I'm like,
the ASMR video.
But I hate it. Like afterwards, I'm like this. Like get me to I need to wash my hands. So sticky, but itchy would be. I feel like itchy would be the most. I think sticky I could probably learn to live with. I don't think I could live with itchy.
I don't think about. I mean, everything you touch sticks to you. I mean,
but I'd be a great football player.
That's a good point.
So I'm going. I want to be sticky. What if he's sticky? That's the final answer. So what do you? What would you
Sticky,
do?
100%,
Sticky. Yeah, itchy. I just think like if I have an itchy nose, like I have long eyelashes, and if at night they start sticking together while I'm sleeping, I'll start cutting them. I'll get Courtney to get scissors.
Are you being serious right
Dead serious. Like I've had
You trim your
eyelashes. They stick together and itch me. Like I can't deal with it. I'm like, Courtney, get the scissors.
I've never heard of that
Get
before.
the scissors, Courtney. I can't handle this.
I want to do it.
You want to do it? Yeah. Yeah. So awesome. That was a good one. You got another
one? I do not.
Okay. I want you to ask the one I told you to ask me. All Look, right. This is okay. Preface
I'll
it. I created this one, but I've been wanting to be asked it mostly because I'm curious of people's reaction / I'm really curious. I would love people to.
It's really good. I would love
comment.
to share the one that you thought of.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
On your own. All right. Would you rather have a horizontal butt crack or a vertical mouth?
I didn't ask you that, but that's a good one.
That's literally what you just asked me.
That's not.
Oh, you're setting me up.
Okay, horizontal. I mean, that's a good question. So you said butt crack this way,
yep,
or mouth this way?
Yeah. I mean, you made it up, so I mean, yeah.
That'd be hard to wipe. I'm going mouth. I mean, because my mouth, I mean, it's already. I feel like kind of like that. Not really. It's not. Well, and it would be no. So you would be open.
I thought you were saying where your jaws are going horizontally.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with it.
Yeah,
Can you imagine wiping your butt that way?
Just they would clap every time you walked. I mean,
right.
Think about that.
But that wouldn't happen for me. Yeah, but like you'd. I mean, I guess you'd get used to it eventually.
You can do some more squats.
Where did you come up with that?
What?
Because I did not. You came up with that. I said, because I'm just going to say it because I've been wanting to ask.
Well, go ahead and ask.
Would you rather pee a marble or crap a softball?
Softball,
100%. I mean, that's true though. Like, I mean, that's my answer, and I'm asking it mostly because it seems like that. I mean, I've asked it to a lot of people, and I generally get crap a softball, but every so often I get a crazy person that says they want to pee a marble, and I'm thinking, I mean, I've never had a kidney stone, so I don't know what that would be like.
Maybe that's what they're comparing it to. A marble-sized kidney stone. That
Dude,
would be.
You're talking. I mean, let's even say small marble would be devastating. So yeah, I would like to see if people would comment.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, I would like to see if they could. Well, good job, Casey. Good job. Your first would you rather. You did a great job, and I let you have. You know what? We've been doing this for who knows because the iPad shut off. So we've been doing this for a few minutes. But
don't you have a Courtney button on there?
No, that's
you need one.
Yeah,
you
dude. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Let me.
Oh, there she is.
No, it didn't work. So they, yeah. So I've let you be nervous for a few minutes.
It hasn't worn off yet.
Yeah. Okay, you'll get there. You'll get there. So as far as our friendship is concerned, so I wanted to have you on for many reasons. I think you're a great guy, one, obviously, but I think you're funny.
Thank you.
I think you're hilarious. And I think that, and I know like you're nervous about people knowing you're funny, but
yeah, that might not translate too well in this podcast, but on the next one, still won't.
You're just really funny. My wife actually says that I don't laugh as hard with anybody as I do with you. So, and I think that's true. I don't know if maybe it's just I get your humor or
we've known each other.
But yeah, and we've known each other, and that's shown true because we played a game with some friends the other night where you had to basically finish each other's thoughts. So it would say, dog blank, and then you had to write down what you were thinking. And we did really well. Like we would always, say dog crap. Well,
it was dog house, but yeah.
But yes, so it was fun, but we've known each other a long time, and it's a neat story actually. I don't know how this happened. Actually, obviously, our parents decided they didn't love each other anymore, and they divorced each other.
They hated each other. Yeah, at the same time.
At the same time. But your mom, lived with my mom, and your dad lived with my dad.
That's right. So when we lived in the English Village, both of our parents were still together.
See, I don't have it. Well, obviously, I don't remember my parents together. But
I don't either.
I don't have a memory at all which is, I mean, I guess if the dates are correct to what you're saying, obviously that makes sense why I don't have a memory, but
you were 2. So yeah.
I'm working hard. Thank
You're
you.
old.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. But I'd never asked my mom, and I don't know if you ever did, how in the world, obviously they were friends before, right?
Yeah.
When they were married, they were friends.
Yes.
And then
they both decided simultaneously
at the same time,
let's get a divorce.
It's kind of fun. Like, I never really thought about it till just now. Like, because it's like, it was a bachelor pad and like, a mom pad. Basically, we'd go back and forth pretty much together.
Yeah.
For the most part, like when you went to your dad's, I pretty much went to my dad's.
Yeah.
When you went back home to, follow normal human rules, we went back to our mom's.
Yeah. So we were on the same schedule.
Yeah.
Whether or not that was it was supposed to be that way. I mean, that's the way that our parents let us do it. So we were always together.
So it's a weird, so not only did we, so when we say like when I refer to him, like one of my oldest friend, not one of my, he is my oldest friend. Cause I think you said it good the other day when it was like, to say that you're my best friend is just not an accurate statement because
we don't qualify for that title.
Yeah. It's just like, I mean, really, if you had to put brother on it, that would be the most accurate way because we lived together till, I mean, it was, once we got a little older, it got a little muddier, when I moved away, really. It was the only time that actually got muddy, I suppose. We went to school together. We were in the same classes sometimes.
Was that right when high school was starting, wasn't it?
I think it was actually more like middle. Well,
I think it was.
It was like 8th grade-ish. So yeah, right before
high school.
So yeah, and then up until then, we pretty much went to school together, and then that's where maybe some of our gap is when I moved out of the country. But you're in, and I haven't out of the country. You didn't tell me that. I do, like it really just occurred to me what I said. Texas. I was in Mexico. Is that offensive? Because I don't feel like the accent was great.
That was horrible. That was horrible.
I moved out of the state.
I was out of the country.
The worst, it'd be worse if I'd have said I moved out of the country to Alaska. That's the only way that could have got worse, like it's not out of the country, you idiot. Yeah, the Gulf of America. I can't remember. Yeah, so
the separation where we separated.
That's right. When we kind of took our own paths for a while, was then. But before then, I mean, we played baseball together, basketball together. I mean, it was so like in all. We
have receipts.
Yeah, and you beat me up a lot. It's like brothers. I know you didn't want to say it, but it's a fact.
Yeah, I beat you up
a lot. You are a little older than me.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes sense,
6 months, yeah. But what your dad used to you would always run to your dad, and your dad would say, "Colton, it's okay. He's supposed to. He's bigger than you. He's supposed to beat you up."
I actually don't have any memories of that. Like I have one memory of like, yeah, you didn't really like. Actually, my one memory is like you were on top of me and kind of like slapping me around a little bit. It wasn't like you were like,
it's not like
punching me.
Yeah, it's not like today's beat up.
I mean,
when you're a little kid, you push someone down, you beat them up.
I have just honestly one memory of it, and that was it.
You got me back one day.
Did I?
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
You don't?
I mean, I'm glad I did.
All right. Well, I'll tell you the story.
Let me hear it.
So I was on the front porch. This might be the earliest memory that I have, actually.
Where were we? House, like which house were we at?
Oh, I don't know whose house it was. It could be a stranger's house.
Okay.
We were we were all over the place. Yeah, and he didn't live in English Village. No. So I was on the front porch, and I was standing underneath the porch light, and for some reason, you had a butter knife in your hand in the front yard. I don't know. You didn't shake me with it, but you threw it. And you hit the light above my head.
Oh my gosh!
And the glass fell, and the thing that was the what's the thing called?
I remember this, like a globe.
Yeah, something. Yeah, so it fell in, so I got glass in my head. It wasn't.
I actually have a memory
or anything
of
like
that.
But Mom took me to the hospital just
to
be sure. Yeah,
I think I got in a lot of trouble for that. I actually do remember.
Well, I hope you did.
I wonder if we were at Bobby, Paul, and Peggy Sue's house.
Those are real names.
I swear, those are
Joseph.
real.
You didn't think about that, did you?
No,
like,
shout out to them though that
Yeah.
their mom name was Peggy Sue and the daughter name was Peggy Sue, and Bobby Paul was the dad and Bobby Paul was the son. So it was.
I didn't remember that part.
That's crazy. I mean, not like it's a bad name. I'm not trying to be ugly, but like,
no, but I mean,
I didn't name my kids Bobby Paul and Peggy Sue.
I mean, yeah.
Because I had one son, I would have done it if I'd had a girl.
You okay?
But that's funny you say that because like I actually
you remember Ronnie?
Who?
Uncle Ronnie, their uncle.
I do remember it.
He's stuttering. You remember he stuttered real bad?
That's great. So like it's like unlocking some doors
that?
here.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know why I remember that.
But like I remember vividly.
It's Uncle the first person I ever met that stuttered, and I thought he was doing it on purpose.
Like for a while, I did.
Like, why is he talking like that?
I think there's a story. I don't remember it, but I think there is a story where I, in front of him, ask about.
That sounds familiar. Yeah,
I think my mom tells a story about him because when we say he stuttered, and
it was bad.
I mean, it would get hung up.
It was bad,
and then
I never understood anything he ever said.
It was. I'm not knocking anybody, but it was like it was enough
I don't
where
make fun of him. I'm just saying that I was little. I was really, really young.
Yeah.
So at some point, I just lost, like he's doing it. I'm sitting staring. I'm like, okay, bye.
Yeah. I remember. I can't believe I forgot about that guy. That's
crazy. We talk about that, and all of a sudden I don't remember it.
A question I had prepared. It just kind of brought it up when you said the knife. It is like, did we get like name a situation we got in trouble? And I actually don't remember us getting in trouble a lot. But I don't remember getting in trouble.
You don't remember stealing cigarettes?
No. What?
Yeah, dude, you stole some cigarettes.
When? Where?
Oh, you want me not? I won't tell it.
No, I want to know.
Use your right eye to wink at me if you want me to not tell
I want to know. No, tell it.
I'm just joking.
Did I steal cigarettes?
Yeah. So
where?
We were at somebody's house, and there was a pack of cigarettes in between the cushions of the couch, and you found them. You didn't know they were there, but we were sitting on the couch, like and you found them. You saw them. You found them.
Okay.
And
did we smoke them?
Yeah, we did. we went around to the backyard or whatever house we were at, and we did. And I don't even think we even lit them. We didn't know we were supposed to light them. We pulled it out. We were smoking a cigarette, an unlit cigarette. Yeah. Oh yeah, we got in trouble.
Okay. Do you know? Do we ever else? I haven't. You know what? In full transparency, I haven't talked about my brother on here yet.
Yeah.
And so, well, I'm trying to think anybody in my life other than my parents. You're the only person that knew my brother.
Yeah, Devin.
That I currently, so it's not like, I had a brother, passed away when I was 6 and he was 10. Casey was also 6, may have been 7, but right around the same age. And then, it was a traumatic experience. He died at a 3-wheeler accident. It was not like, it was all of a sudden, it was, it was traumatic for anybody involved really. But my point of that was, there might be some memories that kind of got, shut out maybe.
Yeah. That was a traumatic, trauma like that at such a young age. Yeah. I'm imagining a lot of stuff got
blocked.
Yeah.
But, and I've heard people talk about that. And, I kind of called BS on it. Like you can't block things. That's stupid, But then, when we look back, I'm like, I don't remember that, and I should. Like some of the things, it's like I should have a memory of that, and I don't. I actually have a memory of me, you, and Devin together.
You do or do not?
Do not. I tried.
I have a lot of memories of it.
I don't have any.
I'm gonna tell you a secret that that he would want me to tell you today.
Okay, let's hear it. So he told you a secret.
Yeah, okay. No, it's something we were in cahoots. We did it against you.
Okay, I'd like to know.
This is real. So, anytime you and Devin would get into it, he would come and he would get with me. I mean, he would come and get with me, and we would go like it was kind of like playing keep away, but we weren't keeping anything away.
Okay,
we would just go off and hang out together without you, and then you would try to come and hang out with us. Devin would go shut the door and lock it. Just to make you mad, you would cry, man. You would get so
I don't
mad,
remember that
cry,
at all. Like
yep, it happened a lot. Yep.
I actually have. I've often wondered if it's a fabricated memory. At English Village, us all playing. With it wasn't just you and me and Devin. There was lots of people, you know, that I recall. But I remember falling asleep, as I feel like I often did. But like I felt there was all of us sitting there like watching a TV show, and it was like, hey, let's watch this TV show. And I was like, cool, but I fell asleep, and I think y'all knew I was going to fall asleep because I woke up and nobody was there. And I'm like, you know what the heck, bro? This feels kind of dirty, you know. Yeah. Now I don't know if
that sounds like something we would do.
You know, a dream. You know, it could be.
Devin was almost 4 years older than us. I mean, this definitely sounds like something he would do.
Right, and I remember when Reese and Elijah were 10, I often thought about because for me, he felt like a grown man. Mm-hmm. You know, what I do remember, you know, it felt like he was 20 years old.
Devin.
Yeah, Devin did. But he was only 10, you know, and I was 6. And that's kind of my memories. And I'm like, you know, when I saw Reese and Elijah, I'm like, dang, 10 is a baby.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
But at that time.
Yeah.
Do you remember, I don't think this is an English Village. I think this is the next neighborhood that we moved to. This is it was the neighborhood that Mike lived in. There was a kid in that neighborhood that was older than Devin. I don't remember how old he was, but I remember he wasn't a good kid. Okay. But he had punched a hole in his garage, and like at that time we thought like you had to have like superhuman strength to punch through drywall.
Okay.
And Devin was hanging out with him, and we were like, oh man, he's hanging out with the bad kids.
I don't remember that.
And so it's like
I do feel like I remember the hole in the wall though.
Yeah, a kid punched a hole in the wall, and that was a huge deal. The kid was probably like 12 or something, and
that was a rowdy neighborhood.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That was like, looking back, I'm like, I think we were in the ghetto.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like the real one, you know?
Yeah, we were the only 3 white kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I thought like, because I've asked Micah about it, you know, since, and he's like, oh, if you only knew who we were you know, like when he would have us over, he's like, if you knew who was there, you know, your parents wouldn't have let you be there. He said I was the only reason that y'all were allowed to, you know.
I mean, yeah.
But like the other people, you know, Micah was always good, but like,
of course, they trusted Micah with.
Yeah, man. And, you know, looking back at that, you know, and that was what I was getting at earlier, is like some of the rowdy things we used to do, especially at our father's house. You know, and even looking at our moms, like they pretend like they're these saints or whatever, but I have many memories in that neighborhood of being like gone. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's a lot different back then it is now. Though.
Yeah, you know, I'm like, I would never let my kids ride with this. I don't know how old Micah was at the time.
I don't know.
6, 17, 18-year-old. You know, I'm not letting them go to the card store with this guy.
He was our babysitter.
He would just drive us up to the car, you know, go get some cards or, you know, Pogs. Remember Pogs?
Oh, dude, I do remember
I remember Pogs, yeah. We'd always take his money, but yeah, that was, I'm just thinking like, because one of my early memories that I remember is we're a bit older. And this is when Jeffrey and Joe and you and me, I think Joe was there. I think. But we used to ride our bikes down in the cove, left, and then cross that street and go in the woods. Mm-hmm. There's maybe a little bit more to it than that, but we would end up in the woods at some point. And I remember like we weren't close. Nowhere near the house. We built like, I don't want to say we built it. I think
Talk off New Brownsville?
I think we started building a clubhouse out there.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And I think I remember finding like all kinds of stuff like other people had left out there, like, you know, probably smoking pot and stuff like that.
I remember finding like deer bones and thinking that I found like a dead body.
Yeah. But like we're nowhere near the house. Mm-mm. Like if our parents wanted us, there's no cell phones. There's no way to get us. Mm-mm. Like hopefully they come back.
Like, that's the way
you ever think about that? Like
that's the way all my friends' parents were.
Like hopefully they come back. Yeah, everybody. And it was wild, you know, like to think about that because I remember I got lost one time.
Well, you wouldn't do it today. Things are so much different now.
No, my kids would not.
Yeah, things are so much different now. But back then, dude, it was be back by dark.
And and people say that, but I'm telling you right now, that's the way it was. Like we were
If I wasn't at home within 20 minutes of it being dark,
You get in
I would
trouble.
have to find a way to call and let him know.
Oh, I'd be
You know what I
freaking
mean? Yeah,
out. I was
I
like,
would have to call.
riding my bike,
Yeah,
stopping
Dad let me do whatever I
it.
wanted to do
Yep.
because he trusted I wouldn't get in trouble. But if I wasn't home within 20 minutes of being dark,
Yeah.
he was so mad.
Yeah.
So I would have to find some way. If I was at a friend's house, I'd use their mom's
Kinda
phone or
rowdy,
something, to call, let them know that, hey, I'm not going to be home,
Yeah.
until.
It was rowdy. I remember I got lost. There was a birthday party. I think you were there. They did paintballing, and I was scared. I didn't want to get hit. So I ran. And they said, go. I ran the other way and like thinking, I'm doing something here. They're never going to get me. Dude, I ended up on a main road somewhere, but I couldn't find my way back to the house. And I don't know how much.
Are you serious? I don't remember this.
Remember that? I don't, because God forbid he find this, but it was kind of an odd guy that lived like off the main old Brownsville Road, I think.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I'm not going to say the name.
I don't want to use the word weird, but I remember the family being like a bit like, because they had like, they would build things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
We weren't like real close with them.
No.
Yeah.
And I don't want to I'm not being ugly, but like this family, they would make things out of trash and it was like their ornaments on the side of the road. Like, I mean, that's a fact.
I thought you were going to give it away.
I wanted to know.
Everybody knows the neighborhood, the yard with trash in it.
I went to a birthday party there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Anyway, my dad somehow found me.
Thank God.
How did he find me? I remember being like, this is it. I'm lost. Yeah. I can't get back.
Go to the trash sculptures.
Yeah. It's true though, dude. I wonder if they're still there. I haven't been over there in so long.
Doubt it.
Yeah. That's I have a lot of memories.
When you said the paintball, you know what that reminded me of? Do you remember Micah? This is the only mean thing that I can remember Micah ever did to us. Do you remember the Super Soakers?
Oh, and he put soap in it?
Yes. Yeah.
I would never forget that. He got you. Dude, I didn't ever get got. I didn't ever get got. I think he kind of felt bad for me because I was probably a little bit of a crybaby. But
you're probably faking it.
I remember he was like this. Bah, 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 he got you, and you're like,
dude, it was in both my eyes. Yeah. I thought I was going to
So die. He had a Super Soaker, like a legit one.
It was like hide and seek. Except for he doesn't tag you, he's going to spray you with that Super Soaker
with like Dial's soap in it.
Yeah, and then it was revealed later that the burning sensation was from the soap in the water.
I forgot he had a pool.
Dude, that dude could jump fences like crazy. Like,
dude, he was a weird athletic.
He was,
because he's short.
Yeah, well, I mean,
no, he's very short.
Oh, well, I mean that's not what made him athletic. But I mean, he was
but I'm saying athletic. He's short and can jump a 6-foot fence.
Dude,
like
it crazy.
Like you're like.
There's no getting. I mean,
he dunked. He was dunking.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, when we played basketball, like
what were those kids' names that we played with?
I know one of them was
Marlon.
I forgot about Marlon.
Did you? Who you're gonna say?
You need to ask Micah about Marlon. He's got. I don't remember his story, but we've talked about him since. But Brian was one of them. He was the real athletic kid, and man, there was one. Maybe it was Marlon, but we used to go to one of their houses that was Micah's age and watch him play video games. We get drunk. I remember Mike used to have a fridge full of Gatorade.
Yes,
and his parents found out later. His parents were super strict. I didn't know, and so but he wouldn't give us one. He'd drink it right in front of you, but he would always like have a contest.
I forgot about that.
He'd be like, "Look, I'll give one Gatorade away if someone can make a basketball shot, and I got a broom, and I'm going to block you." I remember that specifically. So we would be out there for a minute. I can't believe he actually did these things. He must have been really bored when you look back, because like I'd be shooting and this dude's got a broom.
I love you, Micah.
I'm like, really?
He's enjoying the heck out of it.
Yeah, and he used to make us peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with the magic peanut butter and jelly. I don't know if it's magic jelly or one, but
what?
You don't remember that? He would tell
magic jelly.
He would tell you a story and say he'd be like, because he when he was babysitting us, I think some of it was to get us to watch TV and maybe wind it down a little bit. He'd be like, I'm about to use that magic jelly. When you look back, you're thinking, this man's about to roofie us.
That sounds like some Diddy stuff, right?
But it was cool. We bought in. You don't remember that? I think yours is either yours or mine. He would have to cut the crust off. I think it was yours.
There was no magic jelly in anything that I ate.
I'm telling you, I'm going to have Michael on, and we're going to talk about it.
That was nothing.
I've talked to him about it as an adult.
Oh, you have? So you're not making this up right now?
No, he would. And I think yours, he had to cut the crust off of. You were like that. Like you wouldn't eat it with the crust on it.
I'm still like that.
Okay, the Uncrustables are your thing.
Yeah. I love Uncrustables.
That's like I have a lot of fond memories of Micah, and actually, I've been fortunate enough.
I only have one. Actually, I have two bad memories, and I have two bad memories of Micah.
Do you? I don't have any as a kid.
Okay, Micah sprayed me in the eyeballs with soap water.
Right, and then what's the other one?
So the other one is like from a religious standpoint.
Okay.
All right. So, we had never talked to, Mike about God, and, growing up and now today, we're still firm believers and,
Micah, he's a believer.
Yes,
okay,
he is. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So he is. Yeah. So Micah is extremely intelligent. He went to, Ole Miss and got a master's in some type of physics.
I think so.
I mean, yeah, dude just was like extremely smart.
Yeah.
And we never talked about God or anything like that. And I remember being at his apartment. This is when we had gotten a little bit older. And he had a pool at his apartment, and he had that Jeep Wrangler, and he came and picked me up and going to swim in his apartment and or neighborhood. I can't remember really. But I remember at his
so this was older.
It wasn't.
He did have an apartment. This was when we were probably
we were older. And I was looking in his books, and I don't remember what the book was, but it was something about the book that was like, had kind of like some, non-believer vibes to it. And I started looking at it. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it was. I don't remember what it was, but it was something along the. I remember seeing the book and going, "Oh wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know he didn't believe in God, and that really hurt me a little bit."
I think I remember this.
Yeah, and
I don't know that I was there, but I think I remember y'all telling me about it.
But I remember saying, I said, Mike, I said, "Hey, Micah, I saw a book on your shelf. You don't believe in God?" And he didn't say no to me because he knew how important. He knew that I was a believer, and he didn't want to. Looking back, I'm just thinking from his standpoint, he didn't want to like influence me in any kind of way. And I remember him just saying, he's saying, "Well, we'll talk about that some other time. Let's go." And kind of try to like
for him,
brush it off. Yeah, that was cool. That was cool of him to do.
Yeah.
So since then, because I don't remember how old I was whenever, it was probably around high school. It was probably around high school whenever.
It was close to it. I think it was more middle school, but yeah.
And but yeah, eventually he ended up finding God, man. It was
oh, you mean like when he found God? How old were you? That's a funny, and I'm not like it's an interesting story. And maybe he'd share it with you one day, but Mike and I actually, I don't want to say I introduced him to God because I think he was well on his way, but like, he would actually tell you that there was a little influence there, like per our conversation. So I was fortunate enough. I think I was saying I have a lot of adult memories with Micah. We connected probably when I was 25, or reconnected, and he came around a lot. We used to do a lot of things together. So at that time, I mean, we spent a lot of time together. So I would talk to him about, those things. And eventually we started going to church together for a little while. And he, I think there were other people probably, I'm sure, but he does kind of claim that some of his faith was something so it's kind of neat really when you think about it, being able to, he took care of us when we were kids. Really, when you look back, our moms were great, but divorce, son just died. There's a lot going on. Our child was a little rowdy. And then, so Micah was kind of a little gap there for us when they're working and having to, take care of working nights and, casinos. And but being able to kind of give back to him was pretty cool.
That is awesome. It'd be interesting to hear a story. That'd be good for
we had to get y'all, maybe we'll get y'all on this podcast. Yeah, that'd be cool. Cause like, man, I love Micah. We talk all the time still, he's just a good man. He's quiet. He's the same guy, old man soul, I just, his habits and stuff are still the same. Like, it's funny. Like, this man washes his face with Dial soap, orange Dial soap.
Yes, I remember that.
He always has a towel on him, like a white, and not a nice towel. This man, look, I love Mike. Mike is a successful businessman. He can get like, whatever's out there. But this man's got like a AutoZone, cloth towel he wipes his face with all the time. You know, he's
So,
great.
you say he's got to use a shop rack now?
Yes, I swear, man. Like, what are you doing, man? I have some memories of Micah. I tell everybody this story that I can. We ran a race and he got mad at me about something. I don't remember what it was. It was, I know exactly what it was. Somebody cheated in the race.
Say it didn't have anything to do with you beating him. No, it was fast.
No, well, you know, I was younger, so the turntable. You might have the turntables. You know, I was younger and faster, and I always beat him at this point. So like, I'm 25. He's 35. It's a big difference,
Mm-hmm.
But we're pretty competitive still, right? He's still young enough that he can compete with. It was competitive, but I would generally win because I'm better and more athletic than him now,
Yeah.
but so someone cheated in our group.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name names, but there was a group of us that went and
say it.
They were behind us. Big Phil cheated. He'll never admit to it.
Big Phil.
So we were killing Big Phil. Big Phil wasn't there to win. Big Phil was to complete the triathlon. We're doing that. He can't swim. I'm going to call it.
Big Phil
can't not real very well. Like, he can swim, but he's not a swimmer. Micah is a decent swimmer. Yeah. I'm a good swimmer. That's where I usually win. I wasn't a good biker. I was a good swimmer.
Where are y'all doing this at?
All over. We went all over the state. We did triathlons. We did what are they called? Spartan races. We traveled.
Okay, this is during the time that me and you hadn't.
That's right. Reconnected. Okay. Yeah, Micah, man, he would fly me to, like I say, successful businessman, and he knew I was poor, and he would fly. He flew me to California. He flew me to Texas. We had a blast.
You were an actual penny pitcher. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Penny pincher. I didn't realize that until one of your podcasts. I was like, dude, I didn't know that.
Bad. And I had to be really, like, if we were a penny off, something wouldn't get paid. It wasn't like, we're splurging here. It was like
that penny with the for the cheeseburger thing really got me. I was like,
it's a fact.
That is crazy.
It's a real story.
Anyway, that's on another podcast.
But he dude cheated. So we're beating Phil, destroying Phil. He has no chance. And then we're on the run. So it goes swim, bike, run. Mm-hmm. And then you're on the run, and there's just a part where this is like the first part you'd run, and then like a mile later you'd end up coming back. So anybody running this way is a lot further ahead than anybody running this way. And me and Mike are running this way, and we see Big Phil running, and we're thinking, in order to pass somebody, it's there. You see him pass you. Yeah. We're like, Big Phil. Hey, Big Phil. Mike is mad. I mean, I'm like laughing about it because I don't care. We're not in the same age group, so it wouldn't matter anyway. But like, it was just funny. And anyway, we get through it, and Big Phil just says he really hammered down and passed us. And
he went by you so fast you didn't even see him.
Yeah. So Micah's mad. We're getting in the car, and then so I'm kind of picking at Micah about something with the situation. Like, finally, I was like, we're grown men at this point. I'm like, shut up, Micah. Quit crying about the race. You didn't win, la, la, la. And he's holding on to this work. This man, I don't know how much money, Micah. I don't want to put off he's a millionaire, but point being, he's driving a green Ford Focus. It's
by choice.
By choice. And it's ugly and it's old, but it's just the way he is. And we're in this green Ford Focus. He's like, if you keep pushing me, I'm going to drive this car into the tree. Dude, listen. I laughed and he might deny this story, but like, I laughed so hard because I was like, Micah, it's your car. And the tree is maybe 15 feet in front of us. So nobody's dying and we're stopped. Like, you know what I mean? It's going to just be like,
it's a Ford Focus.
He's going to go
7 miles per hour at 15 feet.
Yeah. So like, I was just like, do it, and anyway, that's a real story. And yeah, we never ran a race after that. No, I'm kidding. We did.
That's so funny.
But he may even deny that. But yeah, that's a real Micah. He's a big part of our life.
Destroy his own property. That sounds so familiar.
Yeah, I mean he was big. He babysat us, and he's a big part. And I think we were, like you said, kind of disconnected then, but we reconnected. And it wasn't like we didn't like each other or anything like that. But you're not married at the time, correct. And you're not,
and not now,
right? But you're in a relationship and stuff, but shout out Lacey. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know if I'm supposed to do that. I mean, y'all may not be together anymore. I mean, who knows?
Lacey. I'm just joking, Lacey. That's a joke.
You're so screwed. Hopefully she doesn't listen to the pod.
She's not.
I'm gonna send it to her.
Cool.
But I'm like, I got 2 kids. I think actually at this time when we reconnected, Courtney's pregnant, and we're in an apartment. I'm like working a lot, trying to. I'm poor. We're poor, and you're you're having a great. You're doing what most 22-year-olds are doing. Not starting a family, and yeah, I have a fond memory, and you probably wouldn't want me to tell this, but we were real poor, and I remember you had somehow reached out to me, just like, hey man, how are you? I just checking in on y'all, blah blah blah. If you ever need anything, just holler at me. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll never do that, but I appreciate it. But then it was like, man, 6 months later, I got laid off at the warehouse I was working at the time. That's right before I got into lecture work. And nobody would hire me. This is during like that, 2006, 7. No, that's not true. It's right after all that. So probably 2011, 9, 10, 11, because we got married in 2009. So it was somewhere right in there. And I think it was 2009. And nobody was hiring anybody. It was hard to find like a petty job, slinging boxes or whatever like that. And at the time I didn't know about FedEx, I'm just dumb. And I remember thinking, I was off for like a month, and I was like, I need some money. And, Casey said he'd do anything for me, in my mind. But like, I was just like, man, I need to borrow. And I can't remember how much it was. I told you it wasn't, at the time, it wasn't an extreme amount, but
it was like $28.
No, it was like, I think I asked you for like $300. And then you, because our rent was like $600. And I was like, look, I'll give it back to you.
Are we that old? Or rent was $600?
Yeah. And you ended up paying the full rent. You paid the $600 rent instead of just, and that was for you probably at the time, I don't know what your financial status was, but you made it clear that wasn't going to bottom you out. Or maybe you lied. I don't know, but you had $600 and, I
had $700.
Yeah. So you were like, I'm going to pay this, I was like, well, I'll pay you back. And, for us, it was just I think it was actually our last month there. It just worked out where we were leaving. This was just, I needed to be able to do this to finish the lease out. And man, it was just, for us was, I don't even know that in the moment, because Courtney's pregnant and, or she had Reese, and maybe, I can't remember actually, I know she was either pregnant or we had Reese. So she didn't need all that drama. At the time, I didn't tell her. Do you remember if we had Reese? I can't remember actually.
I think y'all did.
I think so. Like, I feel like that makes the most sense. And then it was actually like, I think around Christmas. I mean, like, you just pulled up, didn't come in, didn't make a big deal of it. But it was the middle of the night. Who knows what you were doing? Like, I think it was late.
I don't remember this.
It was late. Right? It was late.
Yeah.
You pulled up, parked, wrote me a check, and left. Like, not like in a weird way, but I think you knew that it was like, man, I'm sorry, I'm having to ask you to do this, Yeah. And I think you're probably one of the only people I've ever borrowed money. And I didn't borrow it because I didn't ever give it back to you, because you told me not to.
Yeah,
but
I told you you're not borrowing anything. Yeah. It's a gift. Yeah.
Yeah, but
if you want to,
I think that is a testament to you, and you probably don't see it, just because that's just the way you are. I don't know why, but you are a giving person. Not only of like, you're fine. You don't look at money the way a lot of people do. Like people like me, I got to save my money. I've been poor, not saying you haven't been poor, because I don't know, but like, I'm just really.
No, not like you.
But you're like very like, I can't take this with me. I don't, like there's things you could do with your money, and you're like, I'd rather do this. I'd rather give.
A lot of it happened after Dad died.
Really?
So, yeah. So, which, obviously you know that, but my dad died in a motorcycle accident when I was 18. It was in 2007.
Yeah.
So that's whenever my I
remember that.
Yeah, my perspective changed completely on a lot of things. So, and money was one of them.
Really?
Yeah.
That was this? Because I mean,
Yeah.
I actually remember when your dad died. I just so happened to be at my dad's house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was the night of, but it was very close to it. And you actually ended up coming over and staying the night.
Yeah.
I think. And I would just so happen to be there. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah,
Probably.
Terry and Jamie were the only. There was other people at the hospital, but I mean, if somebody just happened to listen to this and they, were there.
Sure.
Like Terry and Jamie were the only ones that I
remember
that my mind that I can remember. Like
right,
a lot of things
that makes sense.
My mom was right there with me, but I don't remember seeing her there. So
I know how you
that
feel
tells
there.
you how your brain acts during a traumatic experience. My mom rode with me to she drove me to the med, and I don't remember seeing her, but that's my memory.
I just remember that being
just blocked traumatic. A bunch of stuff out, but I remember seeing Terry and Jamie, and it was traumatic. But I remember the moment I found out about Devin.
Do you really?
The exact moment, yeah.
Where were you?
I was at my dad's house, and he was on the phone, and I can just hear him going, T, you're kidding me. He called Colton's dad Terry.
Yeah.
He's like, T, you're kidding me. No, T, you're kidding me. He's like, no, and I'm just like looking. I was in the living room. I was looking at Dad in the kitchen. I was like,
yeah.
I could tell something was going on.
Yeah.
And my dad was in complete disbelief. And I saw him holding the phone up to his head, his hand on his head. And I was like, waiting on him to get off the phone. And he got off the phone and said, what happened? And I don't remember what he said, but I remember knowing what he said. Like
you knew
it was one of those things. It was so traumatic. It was like, I remember him saying something, and I knew, Devin was a bad accident. And I was just like, I just remember everything going quiet. Same thing that happened when I found out about my dad. It's like everything.
I remember went quiet. Oddly enough, I remember when I found out, and I remember I'm almost certain I was at my dad's. I don't have a memory of him calling anybody, but I do have a memory of like where I was, what I was watching. I just so happened to be watching. I always tell this story like to people, but I was watching the music video awards for some reason, and TLC just won MTV. "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls." They just won an award. I was like, I love this song, and then sure enough, I got scooped up, and we went. My dad and I think Clint Nelson must have been over there because I recall being sitting in the middle of them two riding to the hospital, and I remember getting there, and it was a scene because and you know how you talked about like memories being like stories being told so many times, but I'm pretty sure I remember getting there and people screaming, and I want to say Bubba. I remember seeing Bubba. I remember, who tried to resuscitate Devin. And then I remember seeing my mom just melting down. I think I don't want to say the ambulance just had gotten there, but it's very possible. Because I also remember being in the back, and I think that there was a thought. He died immediately. Stump, that been super graphic. A stump went through the back of his head. Stem cell, or not stem cell. I'm gonna get that on mine, but brain. What is that? The brain stem? That's what it is. It had been severed, and so he died on impact. But Bubba tried to resuscitate him, and then I think everybody's consensus was like he's not dead yet, but he was, But the family was like, oh, But I remember being back there, and then the consensus changed, and that was I feel like I remember seeing your mom there. I don't know that she was, but it's just in my mind. I feel like, at the time, everybody's like, keep Colton, away or,
sometimes it's hard to
piece that together.
Just, differentiate nightmares from reality at that age,
Right. I do remember, them feeding me. The nurses felt bad for me. They'd go get me food, like McDonald's and stuff like that. It didn't really, that was super traumatic.
Yeah.
For me, of course, but I wasn't. Yeah, that's why I didn't know your dad. You were there. I try to unlock some of those memories sometimes because for me it's important. Something I really am intentional about, and this was before even cancer and stuff like that. Because obviously morality becomes a way different thing. When you experience something like this. But I've really been intentional about keeping people's memory alive. You know, my brother. I do it for my grandmother, my nanny, and you know, even my mom's parents. But my brother especially, I try to talk about him to my kids. I've taken them to the grave. So my wife actually takes them a lot to the grave. But I also I'll do their names, right? I'll make their names a password. Shout out, you can get me, but I will in some way, but I do it, or like at work, I might make his name inside this password so that I have to type it all the time.
Yeah.
And that it's it sparks a thought, you know, or, you know, so I don't know. It's important to me to you know, people die and then you're like, I'm realizing, you know, even just being sick now, that life just goes on. You know, people just, nothing has stopped in my life. There's not one thing other than me, you know, currently. And then it's like that with death as well. You know, people die and you know what? They replace you at Homer Skeleton Ford and they, you know, they're selling cars like this, you know, it's a wild thought, but it's kind of sad really, you know, they used to celebrate, you know, for a week, you know, to, you know, way back when, but of their dead, and they do things, you know, and now it's just life. Yeah, now it's boom, boom, you're dead, move on. How can we, you know, don't forget your mortgage is due tomorrow. You know, it's dang, you know, it's just a wild thought, you know, and how
it's such a big deal to you, you know. I mean, it's it has such a big impact on your life, but not the world
at all.
So it's how can something impact you so heavily in your life, a life-changing event, everything about your life, and then all of a sudden it's but nothing else in the world is affected but you.
No,
you know what I mean. As far as you're concerned, I mean, as far as what you know you're feeling.
I agree.
You know, it's crazy. You know, do you remember when we used to write the letters to Devin on his birthday?
Yep, balloon.
Yeah,
but about that.
I wonder if
no,
anybody ever got those balloons and
no.
What you think I was going to say?
I wonder if anybody still does get all the way up there. That's interesting. I mean, they ended up somewhere.
Yeah, I always wonder. I've never gotten a balloon and found a note in it and been like, "Oh,
that would be so cool." Actually, wouldn't it? To receive something like that.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, I need to do that again. You know, I put their birthdays of people that are important to me that have passed. I put their birthdays in my calendars and stuff, and I really try to, you know, make an effort to think about them. To, you know, sometimes I'll celebrate them in some way, in, you know, small way maybe, but heck, I do it for my dogs, man.
You had some good dogs.
I mean, I'm I was, you know, I try to, you know, I don't know. It's just important to me. Because I don't want to be forgotten.
No.
You know what I mean? I don't not in a selfish way, but you know, not in the Troy, no one will remember your name, you know, but in the,
that was good, dude. Again.
No one remember your name. I just hope my family and my friends, you know, think to go, you know, pour a beer and be like, hey, this one's for Colton, you know, that was a good dude. You know what I mean? I mean, I hope so. Even if hopefully it's 50 years from now or whatever, but you know, I just, celebrating life to me is super, and death, you know, it's just, I don't want someone to look back and go, you haven't thought of me one time. It's like God and Christianity, you know, did you even think of me? Mm-hmm. Did you think to pray with me, or pray to me, I should say, or, you know,
on Judgment Day, whenever he's telling you about something bad you did, and you're you definitely weren't thinking about me then.
Right. You know,
look at yourself. He's playing it back.
It's a horrible comparison probably, but it is how I feel. It's that serious to me.
Yeah.
You know, I hope that, you know, I don't know what happens when you die as far as being able to look back on humanity, but you know, if they
I think we're going to care about it.
I hope you're right.
I don't think we're going to care about it. I think what's happening on earth is going to be the last thing that's going to be on our mind, and that's going to be an earthly thing, and all earthly things will be forgotten, and that's what I imagine anyway.
I like it. I'm in. I mean, that's a cool.
Who wants to remember anything down here anyway?
Yeah, I told someone, I was like, you know, I want to go to heaven, but I'm not sure it's right now. You know,
they wrote a song. Somebody wrote a song about that.
Who was it? Is it a country song?
Yeah,
that sounds like a country song. I got something for you. So, not to change I've been trying to add this in. I started it last week with Elijah. Some rapid fire questions. These aren't supposed to be something you think about, really. You know, just off the cuff, about us. And it's Some of them are kind of, well, they're all very super random. Do you have a favorite video game that we used to play? Which I don't know if you can. There wasn't many. I remember a specific one, but
all right, I'm gonna say Sega Genesis.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I can think of the name of it. I know what it was.
I've got a few of them, so I don't know which one. I'm gonna say Mortal Kombat.
That's a good one. I mean, that we played that a ton, but I was thinking of the dinosaur one.
I don't know the name of that one. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think it's on the Sega. The dinosaurs fight.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that game.
Yeah, I don't know. Rage?
No. Yes, that's
that right?
No, that
okay,
is it. Rage.
I knew it was a R. Okay,
yeah. Okay. Wow. First try.
Who was your first celebrity crush? Like it didn't have, but do you have a first one that was a big?
Yep.
Who?
And it's real trashy.
Who is it?
Christina Aguilera.
Oh, it's very trashy.
That's.
I think mine was Britney Spears. So it's really around the same time.
Yeah, they were the same time. But
and that was.
Yeah. I was like,
do you remember when you used to have a chain?
You need a bottle, man.
I'll never forget this.
Yeah, Micah bought it for me.
I thought so, but Micah I wasn't.
It was like a thing. It was like a panther. It was like so freaking ugly.
Listen, I remember Little Bow Wow came out with this song.
I think about that. I was like, I wonder where that went. That's crazy.
You used to. We had that Little Bow Wow come out with one of his first big singles, and I can't think of Bounce With Me, maybe.
How do you remember that?
It's a very vivid memory.
I forgot he was a person.
And this is when you and Micah hung out more than I think at the time. Like he was still like really active in your life, and then I was kind of further away and a little less active. And I remember you were in the front seat with him in that Jeep, and he had the loudest lyricism I've ever heard to this day.
He had a sound bar when sound bars weren't a thing.
And it was like, and the sub though was like couldn't breathe kind of thing. And I remember he'd play that song, and you'd be up there like throwing that chain around.
This is one of those memories you made up.
No, I swear. Micah, please, God, comment on this video. I'll never forget that. Yeah.
Dude, we get a picture.
Dude, I don't. Yeah. I mean,
there's no picture phones, probably.
No, that it would be hard to get pictures of some of the stuff, of some of the things. But okay, so who would be more likely to on these questions? And just I'm gonna push them out, and you just, in your opinion, who would be more likely to cry during a movie?
You.
Really? Okay, forget a birthday.
Me.
Kicked out of a class.
Me. 100%.
End up on a reality show.
You.
I could see that. Laugh in the middle of a serious moment.
Me.
Yeah. Stay calm during like a crisis, like a big major, world crisis.
That's a tough one.
I think so.
That's a tough one because I would see myself very calm, but I can't see you freaking out either.
No, I think that might be a 50-50.
Yeah.
Start a new hobby and then forget about it in a week.
Me.
I was going to say that. Google symptoms and convince themselves they have a rare disease like leukemia.
You.
It's never happened.
Sound familiar?
Make a spreadsheet and plan a weekend getaway.
You.
Cry during a Pixar movie.
You.
Yeah, you've heard said that. Okay. Yeah, that was the last one. That's funny. I got almost all of them.
Which one? What did you not get?
No, I'm saying you. The one that I actually thought you might be more likely to cry during a movie.
Really?
I mean, nowadays I cry a lot, but not like specific. I mean, just as an adult, I think I cry more. I'm not afraid to cry or whatever, but
I'm not afraid to cry either. But I mean, it's got to be really painful.
Yeah.
I mean, you get more sentimental when you have kids and get married.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think as I've gotten kids and like had those proud moments or whatever, I'm like a little bit more. Before I wrap it up, I wanted to just kind of, just get your perspective. Obviously people are super nosy about what I've got going on, but I do want to shout you out. You're probably, you and another guy that comes to mind are just one of the unsung heroes of like, my diagnosis, and just super active. And, I'm not going to get into it just because I don't think you'd want me to, but you do a lot for us. You probably don't want that, but it is true. And not just like, what people would think maybe, obviously, but some of the things, you spend time with my kids. Lacey, who truthfully doesn't know us all that well, cooks for us a lot, especially when I was in the hospital. Just a lot of things. And I just want to say I appreciate it. more so than you probably understand. And I know you do it out of, you have a great heart. I do believe that. And you don't do it to be seen. And that's why you do it probably the way you do it. You know, which is, you know, not to be, which is so respectable. You know, some people, you know, I'm not saying they have, but probably could use this to shine light on themselves. You know, oh, I'm helping Colton, or, you know, and not saying people do that, but, you know, I'm sure they have, but
They could. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
that's not what you've done. And my family loves you, and everybody loves Casey, truthfully. And I just want to just publicly say, I love you and I really appreciate you. And I, not just because of what you've done for me, but I value our friendship and your opinion. And I value that we can go time without being around each other and seeing each other and have a great time, you know, and that still be family. And I value that my kids have a great time with you, you know, not prompted, not, hey man, look, Casey's doing this, you know, have a good time. You know, they genuinely enjoy.
You got the best kids.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate
They're the most
that.
polite kids. I mean, it's
well, good. I appreciate that. And they love you and we love you. And, but I do want to ask, like, you know, what was your, you know, initial thought really? Did you have like when you found out, you know, obviously I don't even know how you found out because I was so sick at the time, but like, just, you know, quickly, but I'd like to know, you know, how was that for you? And not like, I mean, obviously you're going to be like sad and whatnot, but like, how did you hear about it and how did that all come to?
all right. Well, you know how you think you would react to something's never. Well, I would say it's never. I mean, for me, I don't ever react in the way that you'd think you'd react. Like I think I'd be calm during a horrible disaster, and maybe I wouldn't be. But you know, until you're in it, you don't know.
Yeah.
The way that I found out, I was at work, and Courtney had called me, and I didn't answer it. I hit the ignore button, I think, and then she texted me. She said, "Hey, you know, call me as soon as you can. It's really important." And I said, I think Courtney will correct me, but I think my exact words were, "No, go away."
That sounds like something, but like you were kidding, I'm sure.
Of course, I was kidding. Yeah. I mean, I'm hardly ever serious.
Right, yeah.
So I texted her back and said, "No, go away." And then she texted me back and said something like, she said, like, "LOL, no, seriously, it is really important." And then at that point, I was like, "Oh,
oops,
crap."
Yeah, I understand.
And so I remember walking across the showroom floor of my job. I'm a landscaper.
Yeah.
And
he's not allowed. It did not occur to me what you said. I was like, hold on, what?
I was like the showroom floor. Yeah. I walked across the showroom floor and people were saying my name because they needed me. And I remember it just like was like all like after that it was just like quiet because I was like something bad's happened. I knew something bad had happened at that moment.
It's almost like Devin.
But I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was bad. And I didn't know who it was. I felt like it was you, but I could have been the boys. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I remember walking outside. As soon as I walked outside, felt like I was moving in slow motion.
Yeah.
You know, the phone coming up to my ear and my truck was so far away, but it was like literally right there.
Yeah.
I knew I was getting in my truck and I knew I was leaving. That's what I knew.
Yeah.
I didn't know where I was going yet, but whenever I answered the phone and Courtney told me what was going on, I was already driving off the lot because I knew I was going somewhere. And she told me what had happened, and I remember not feeling sad or emotional.
Yeah,
I remember feeling numb, which is the same way I felt whenever I found out my dad got hit.
Yeah, I understand.
And it was so I remember feeling like nothing at all. I just remember feeling like, how do I get to the hospital from here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was just like, I just stopped thinking, you know, it was such a weird, you know, obviously it's an uncontrollable experience, something like that, you know, but I don't remember being sad or scared or anything at first. But I remember when I got there, that started to
get a little nervous.
Yeah, it started to, I started feeling the shakes.
Yeah.
And kind of like, you know, blood sugar gets kind of low. So, you know,
I understand.
I started getting the shakes. And I remember it was so hot. It's one thing I remember how hot it was, and I was wearing a suit at the time, and I was walking across that parking lot, and it seemed like it was so far away, dude. It was, and the heat, I was sweating so like way worse than normal, and shaking, and like they probably thought I was there at the hospital for myself.
What do you mean, sir?
Yeah, that was a horrible memory.
Yeah, I remember seeing you, and I remember like I feel like I've said this I've said this a few times, like on the podcast, but there are a few people that have seen me sick. Like that was when I was like really sick, like I was, dying really. I mean, in essence, and I've said the Lewises saw me, like, and you saw me. My kids didn't even see me in that form, and I think my dad and Jamie probably saw me. So, but yeah, you're one of the few people that I allow. I mean, there were some people that surprised me and came, and I was just like had to kind of like. But you're one of the few people that was like, "Hey, I'm on my way," and I was like, "Okay, cool. I'm glad to see him."
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it like that, but like, you and the Lewises, I was glad. Y'all are like dear to me, and I was glad to see a face, because I was nervous, right? I'm like trying to process this, but also like find the silver lining, a little bit, and really hadn't processed it completely. But it was nice. I remember seeing you and being sick, and yeah, I was like, oh my God, thank God I see a familiar face and, somebody that can make me laugh a little bit. And like, I could tell you were nervous though. You were like, the nervous walk going and
that was bad.
Like, do I need to wear a mask? Do I need to do that?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you need to do all the things. And you were great and have remained great. And we love you, man.
I appreciate that.
I mean, you're important to this family. I don't know. I can't speak for anybody else in your life, but I know you are 100% important to this family, and you are part of this family. And I'm not just saying it because we're on here, but this is a good place to kind of break it down and talk about it.
This was an ambush.
Yeah. Guess
all along,
what?
you got me on the just so you could do that.
We love you. Say it back. But I've thoroughly enjoyed this, but I do want people to actually listen and get to know our story, and I think. So I want to do this again. I want to get, I got stem cell coming up, but we'll figure it out. Maybe when you come up there, we'll snag another podcast or something. Because
we haven't even scratched the surface.
No, and I realized that like about
as we start talking about stuff.
Yeah, however long ago, I realized like, oh my God, like we have a lot. And even if this is, some of this is for me. It's nice for me to talk, and
I feel like you're just doing me a favor.
Yeah. No, it feels well. It's nice to. I think people when I ask them to come on or talk, like I've had other people I've asked, and they're like, "Oh no," but it is therapeutic to reminisce and get it out there and stuff like that.
And you asked me, I was like, "I'm
famous." I mean, I would love to be. Yeah, that would. Joe, call me.
Imagine if like Joe Rogan ever called me.
Call me.
How I'd feel. Like me?
You want me? To be on your podcast? But let's do it again, and I want to embarrass you real quick.
Oh no! Don't do
with
it.
This right here, because I know I'm the one that's kind of. I mean, you're not a big Harry Potter guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you're just not. This is Elijah for you.
I thought that was you. But
no, that's Elijah. Oh. But I want to embarrass you and show you that you know nothing about Harry Potter, despite the fact that you've been to Universal Studio multiple times. You've been a lot, I think it was my understanding.
At least 2.
I thought you went I thought this was a thing for you. Like, I think your mom, didn't you go, or is that somewhere else?
I've been 4 times, yeah.
Okay. So
I've done a lot to a lot of people.
Okay. Ooh, this is so good. And you could get this. You could get this.
All right.
Harry Potter, okay. What position does he play in Quidditch? I mean, to be honest with you, you should get this. It rhymes with sneaker. Do you not know it for real?
I do not know it.
It's seeker. I literally gave you the answer.
I was like,
I can't wait to tell Courtney. She's okay. I'm going to give you one more.
You can empty out that whole thing. We're in trouble.
Okay. Don't embarrass me.
Do you know Morse code?
No.
I don't either.
Okay. When Harry Potter learned to ride his broom, who took his ball and threw it?
Snape. I mean, not Snape. What is the little kid with the white hair?
You better get his name. Look, dude.
Malfoy.
There you go.
Can I get it?
Yes.
Oh, God.
All right, cool. Good for you.
Snape was a professor.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, good. That's not bad. Well, man, I love you. I appreciate you. We're going to do this again. Man. We'll do this multiple because it looks like we got some things we need to unpack because our lives is fun, but it's messy.
Yeah.
And I think that, heck, even if it's for people who were involved in our life, just to hear it and be like, see our perspective and stuff like that, I still think it's great. So, yeah, for sure. Awesome, bro. I appreciate you.